Hello, everyone. Welcome to LUTI tonight. I am Fusion. I'm joined here by Rocket. We have an absolute doozy of a match for you today. MoonLight versus Pollo. What can you tell us about these teams, Rocket?
I mean, both these teams pretty well known. At least recently, Pollo has become more well known as many of you may know already. They beat the very heavily favored Black Lotus in week one in a very close 5-4 victory. They're upsetting the number one seed there, and they've just been on an absolute tear. I mean, this team came out of just grinding out weeklies but dominating there, and they find themselves here in Div X. Now MoonLight, we all know they are considered fan favorites here. You know them, you love them, but this match has a lot riding on it, as this can really set up a team for success. Both these teams up actually 1-0 so far in terms of the group here, so this would be going really well into just setting the pace for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Both these teams sitting at 1-0. This second game is going to determine a lot to do with the playoff, with the potential playoff qualification. Once you win 3 games, you have a shot of making playoffs, not guaranteed, but both these teams want to put themselves just one more win away, and Pollo already having beaten Black Lotus, the highest seed in their group. Well, I mean, just to echo what's been said, like on Popgun stream, Half came in and chatted about Pollo as well. Pollo, people were wondering, are they actually a Division X team? They have silenced all doubts about them, beating Black Lotus in a 5-4 set. So they kind of have nothing left to prove, and so the pressure is off for them. But nonetheless, they've kind of just been hitting their. They've been putting the pedal to the metal and have been winning weekly after weekly, beating Black Lotus. They are on a tear, and I'm curious to see whether it's going to continue here against MoonLight, of course, like perennial crowd favorite.
Yeah, of course. I mean, in terms of what Pollo has done so far, if they are able to pull off the upset here yet again, I mean, who knows what we have in store for them. I mean, it could just change the view of how we see these teams that are just dominating weeklies. You might not put them up to that pedestal of like, oh, like, can you face the top teams? I mean, Pollo is that unique case that we've been mentioning here. But I mean, if you're on the side of MoonLight, though, you have been together for a while here, Pollo, the up-and-comers, so you might have an opportunity here to just have that more familiarity and just see what you got here. But taking a look at just from what I've seen from Pollo, they have a very interesting comp in terms of what they do like to run here. You have typically Sky on that charger, depending on what they may run. You typically see them on ZNF, maybe an E leader here and there, but could typically expect to see Pencil here. Obviously, with the recent update and changes, we could see that shift over to Edit, because that's seemingly, I mean, more teams have been favoring that for cooler because of the pencil nerfs, but we'll just have to wait and see here, as we're just going to jump straight into a Game 1 Macomart zones.
Yeah, we'll see if the patch has shifted beliefs in weapons. Doesn't seem to be the case so far. Both teams rocking with that pencil. We do have a Luna Blaster coming out. I mean, we also have the 96 Deco, which I think is an interesting pick. I mean, it's coming out from Nolan, which is somewhat expected, but I think Kraken on zones. Going to be very interesting to see how MoonLight's going to use that. Unsure what that was about. Perhaps there was like a disconnector. I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think okay, so the confirmation is, I think one of the members of Pollo wasn't quite ready yet, and the match was started right before. So we'll just have a redo of that, I believe. But I mean, interesting to see the 96 on both sides there. I mean, you see it on your screen right now, the 96 Deco. It has become a more common weapon. I mean, your love on the side of Pollo has been known to be playing that weapon, and it has a lot. I mean, the range for the 96, the killing power, there's so much pressure that you can really be putting on the other players as well, has just been seeing more and more popularity. And if both these top teams have been using it, I can only imagine the trickle-down effect of it going down to the lower divs as well.
Interesting. I kind of was not aware of that sort of meta shift. We've been seeing, honestly, very little Kraken, I kind of took a break from Splatoon for a while, but it felt like 96 had kind of fallen off. But seeing it kind of seeing a resurgence here is very interesting. The Kraken is definitely able to get a lot of mileage, especially just having a weapon with a splash wall that can fight at mid-range. Is a very valuable role. Help your team stall. We kind of haven't seen. Basically, I'm kind of thinking since that squeezer nerf, we haven't seen too much occupying that role in a team composition, but 96 is propping up, so we'll have to see how it goes. Luna Blaster is a pick I'm very interested in here, especially since it contains that newly buffed Ultra Stamp. That's going to be very deadly around the corners here in the middle of Mako Mart zones. No false start this time. We are ready to hop into our Week 2 set.
Yes, and both teams are going to be sticking with that penciled, seemingly just not caring about the nerfs whatsoever, but already off rip, MoonLight will get that first pick there. The 96 does fall already. Tacos here in the zone, already has Bubble, just trying to paint up, trying to get that pressure online here just for any position on MoonLight, and actually will get control of the zone as two members of MoonLight fall, now a third as Omega falls.
Yes, and that's the bubble burnt as well, so it's going to be a lot harder. Take some more time to drop into the middle of the map, but huge pick coming out from Nolan on a shark on that right side. Shadow now moving up on that left, trying to help MoonLight get back into the zone. They've neutralized it, but nothing just yet. The Kraken opens the way. That takes out the Junior. MoonLight has gotten back the zone, wins the fight, taking two members down. Pollo's going to be able to jump out of that situation. They do have a Kraken for that pushback in, and that Luna Blaster in mid already. Going to be a little slow to cap the zone, but definitely going to keep MoonLight at bay for a while. Pollo answering back very quickly.
Yeah, and Keeley, that hammer is still online for Pollo. Keltec just keeping it in the pocket. You see two members of MoonLight fighting down there at the bottom of your screen. Keltec will try to take that fight. The hammer is actually canceled out, but Pollo will maintain that lead, will actually get that lead, but right as they got that lead, MoonLight were able to just sweep in and to completely wipe off Pollo now on the defense here. Not a lot of penalty to really work through. Nolan does have a Kraken, however, Omega does fall in a one-on-one trade, I believe, on that right side.
Yes, Nolan under that left side. That Kraken's ready for any members that are going to drop there. It does come out a little bit early as members of Pollo just wait it out. The timer is going to continue ticking down. MoonLight has the lead now, but now waiting for that Kraken to go. That is going to be a pick. Tacos moving in on that right side with the Junior. There's another shark behind them. They aren't aware of it. It gets a single trade. MoonLight's going to maintain control of the zone, but Pollo slowly, the tide is shifting in their favor. They're going to win the paint back and the zone, but the fight is not over yet, Rocket.
Indeed it is, Infusion. Shadow still has their crab available for MoonLight just to try to move in here. Omega gets a key pick there onto the Luna, maybe just grind to get some position here. Able to take that stack, quickly taken out by Sky on the other side though, as Sky will manage to get the jump out, and zone is back in Pollo's control. However, players are falling from both sides. A great pick onto Nolan as well, shuts down that flanking Gao, and now an opportunity for Pollo to try to recollect themselves here. Omega is a giant problem in their side though with that bubble, but quickly broken by that Kraken as both teams are just trading blows with each other at this moment.
Yeah, the Kraken comes out. It is going to shut down the bubble, but doesn't seem to get too much mileage as members of Pollo are going to have to back off. 96 Stealth Pollo sitting on that right side looking for a way in. They don't have it just yet, but the paint is slowly moving in their favor. Ooh. Over on that left side, unaware, Omega actually catches them off guard, gets a pick, and now the Decavitator on a flank. That's absolutely huge. MoonLight slowly winning back this fight yet again. A pick on the Luna Blaster at close range. Ooh. One more, yet another. Didn't even realize he was going to get that pick with the actual blade. Is Omega. Nice couple of kills coming out from Omega. Helps win MoonLight the zone, and now the penalty is nearly done.
Slicing and dicing. I mean, people worried about that decav nerf there, maybe thinking that you might see the switch over to Stamp, but no, evidently not. Decav's still pretty strong in today's meta. Now the MoonLight is almost out of their penalty here, so pressure on Pollo to move in. You do have Taco's bubble to move in. Keltec already went down though, so now a little bit staggered as the Gal also falls here. Players are staggering. Tacos is Keeley taken out there. The bubble will quickly be shredded. Keltec, really the only player in Pollo's possession to even try to contest it, but that Kraken from Nolan will shut down that push on that right side, and just too little too late for Pollo to try to paint in as MoonLight takes game one.
Yeah, nice stuff from MoonLight. We saw Pollo maintaining control for a decent bit of that game, battling back very quickly, able to shift the tide, but MoonLight, that last hold ended up leading to their victory there. We saw Nolan kind of sharking on that left side. We saw the bubble come out from Pollo, but not able to get the mileage they needed out of that bubble, ending up just kind of dropping that bubble and not clearing the drop, meaning you now have an enemy just sitting in your bubble guarding the way. And this Luna Blast here, it's great at clearing the stacks, but not going to paint the zone on its own. Well, the Krakens were very key in that game, and the 96 gals were a huge factor as well. So MoonLight coming out on top there. They seem pretty strong. Pollo, I mean, took it in a 9-game set against Black Lotus. We'll have to see how Pollo is going to adjust, as it felt like they had a little bit of a hard time kind of clearing their drops.
Yeah, indeed. And an interesting thing, just seeing, just by previous experience watching Pollo play, you don't typically see tacos on Junior in those zone matches, at least from what I've seen. Usually I've come to expect them to be running Neo Splash or just match the splash for the either Trip Strikes or the Crab. So seeing them on Junior was something different, something interesting. Don't typically see them on, but I would like that choice here on Game 2 Scorch Gorge Clams, just for the basket, just for that presence control here, but not typically something I see, which is interesting. On the other side, I touched on it a little bit in terms of what MoonLight likes to run. I mean, we typically know Omega likes to run either Decav or Carbon in those instances, sometimes pull out that Stamper, but I would have maybe thought that they wouldn't use that decav because of the nerfs, but I mean, proving me wrong right there, getting that triple there, still pretty strong with that bubble as well.
Yeah, I believe they only changed the paint from the decav, right? It's not the actual hitbox itself. So still going to be able to slice and dice over a large radius, and we saw that from Omega several times that game. A couple of basically a couple of pushes in just got thwarted by members coming from an off angle, coming from under a ledge, and you know, on zones, teams have time to set that up. We'll have to see if MoonLight's able to do that again on Clam Blitz Scorch Gores. This is definitely a much more kind of fast-paced, dynamic mode, but there is that huge tower in the middle, which that Luna Blaster, if it comes out again, will get a lot of value from guarding.
We see Shadow switching over now to the V shot for that Zuka power. On the other side, no 96 will be had, instead a 52 there for the Killer Whale, deciding to go against the Kraken here. Besides that, everything else remains the same. Taka's still on that Junior for that bubble control. Now both teams will be running bubble here, but Keltec, again, on that Lunar Blaster, will actually get a key pick against Omega right off the start there. 15 seconds in already, and now Pollo are back in business.
Yeah, Keltec moving up on this right side, trying to help out Tacos. The bubble comes up. That's going to let the Luna move in closer. That's a huge pick. Now the Luna moving forward. Keltec under the ledge. It's going to be very difficult for MoonLight to get rid of them here. Keltec keeps an eye on the flank. Now running down, actually manages to close the distance on Nolan on the 96 gal. So Pollo coming out on top of that first fight, but kind of surrendering the positional advantage they had. They were nearly up to the enemy plat, so they decide that they're going to opt to win the team fight and keep specials online rather than, you know, begin taking control early.
Yeah, and speaking of specials being online, Nolan does pop their crack and forcing 2 players of Pollo to just run for the hills. Tacos is actually taken out. Keltec does fall as well, and now a lot of position advantage here for MoonLight here. You see all the clams being thrown immediately. Omega will get that first score onto the basket. On the other side, Cooler is popped, but MoonLight are getting in with those clams here, down to 65. You saw the Zuka being popped as well. Won't fight much, but you see now finally the members of Pollo are able to recollect themselves a little bit, but you have to worry about Nolan here just on that 96.
Yeah, oh my gosh, huge play coming in. No one's able to clear it. A member from the snipe, that Luna Blaster, Keltec guarding, able to stop the bleeding here. The clams stop filtering in on that left side. This Luna Blaster has been very important to Pollo's strategy just yet, but Keltec has not been able to move all the way in, and that's kind of what it needs to really be enabled on offense. And it's difficult to really move it beyond just that top mid. We'll see what Pollo's going to be able to do to try and enable it. This whale could open the doorway, but 2 members come down on that left side. I believe that was Shadow getting those picks on the left. Huge job. The Zuka comes out, finishes 2 more. MoonLight, huge plays here, winning the fight in mid, gearing up for yet another push.
Yeah, indeed. And as they try to get this push, the hammer finally comes out from Keltec there, managing to find a couple here, but ending that push pretty much. But something interesting I want to mention, Fusion. Keltec had their hammer for the longest of times. I don't correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the first hammer I've seen from them, and we're halfway through the game. They're just really keeping it in the pocket. You kind of think that with the buffs to it, you kind of, even if you do have it, you kind of just want to use it, just kind of chuck it, maybe get a key pick or two there, but still holding on, being patient with it, as now you see Pollo now trying to make their first move here. The hammer does go out here yet again, maybe hearing from what I'm saying, trying to use it here, but quickly shut down.
Yeah, the hammer coming in. They did not change the melee hitboxes or anything to do with it. It just now has more options as kind of a Zuka alternative, if you will. MoonLight able to kind of split the difference there, and force the hammer to turn away, allowing the pencil to get the pick. Now Shadow gets a pick with that Zuka, punishing Pollo for taking a while, just sitting, waiting for an opportunity to move in. Now, MoonLight in control of this game. They still do not have a commanding lead, despite their presence on the map. They're looking for a way in. They find two picks. Here comes, oh, it's the Kraken, but Nolan manages to get out of Kraken and get a pick immediately. MoonLight's push is going to begin again. Several more clams are going to make their way towards that basket. That is going to be a much more comfortable lead. Shadow getting some clams, jumping in. The basket's about to close. They're able to get it. The bubble guarding the basket, but managing to get a few extra points in before going down. This push going all the way to 13. There's only a few more clams. 3 clams will be the end. Are they able to get it? No, they shut down Shadow, and Basil's going to have to back up. That's going to be a huge push from MoonLight, but Pollo is alive and kicking.
Alive and kicking indeed, but I mean, you have 3 balls in your possession, you have 1 minute left, you need to make a push that matters here, because now you're looking at knockout territory to get this one back. Taco's almost up to bubble, maybe could be the lead factor in that here, just waiting for a good opportunity here, maybe trying to find a key pick somewhere, maybe just trying to throw out some bombs, but unfortunately Pollo does lose their Keltec member, losing that Luna Blaster, that frontline presence here, stalling out the push a little bit. You see the Kraken in response to Taco's bubble as well. Now Keltec falls yet again here. You see the flank from Omega here, just trying to get at these players, manages to find Tacos here, and now position will be had. That push was just nullified there, and managed to find another trade as well.
Oh my goodness, yeah. MoonLight has just been calm, cold, and calculated. They've shut down every one of Pollo's pushes here. They've honestly, I feel like they've been giving a lot of space. They haven't been giving the 52 or the Luna Blaster the kind of space they need, or the position they need rather, to get the value in order to start a Pollo push. And Omega utilizing the range of the decav, able to help. This is an opportunity for a push. That is going to be 1 power clam being held by Pollo. They're going to make their way to the basket. They are alive. Is there a power clam jump behind? No. Okay, I'm seeing things. That is going to be 2 power clams in the basket. There's a lot more points that need to be taken here. Pollo, in overtime, they're trying to find a way in. All of MoonLight is guarding the basket there. No one off to the sides. 2 members of Pollo go down. This cooler is going to be guarding. The power clam is going to fly up, and the basket's going to be pulled out of the way at the last second. MoonLight hangs on, but that end looked a little bit dicey. I'm not gonna lie.
Indeed, dicey, a little scary too, but I mean, MoonLight just was able to build up that lead from the get-go, really gave them that little buffer to not really have to worry about it, and MoonLight quickly now with a 2-0, and now 2 games in, I want to analyze the comps that were run in this game a little bit here. There is a lot of range for MoonLight in terms of having that advantage over the comp that Pollo ran. I mean, you have that decav, that 96. You saw the switch away, on at least in terms of Your Love, switching away from mirroring that 96 to that Gal, and it just felt like you have so much of that range advantage on MoonLight that it really didn't provide much opportunity for the members of Pollo to move forward. I mean, just comparing it across the board, the Junior compared to the Shot, the Gal compared to the 96, the Decav compared to the Lunar, you really had the ability for MoonLight to just basically just wait for Pollo to come for them, wait for them to make their move, get that first pick, and then move in accordingly.
Yeah, we definitely saw some nice patient play coming out from MoonLight, and I think we've kind of seen... We've seen the bubbles coming out from MoonLight get a lot more value than the ones coming out from Pollo. I feel like they've kind of been coming out at inopportune moments just before a member of MoonLight dives onto Pollo, and I think that's going to be a key factor to see whether or not Pollo's going to be able to get back into this game, because we've seen Omega move up and set up a bubble, helping his team move up behind it, but Pollo has not quite had that opportunity. They haven't had that free space in order to move forward. Once they move up, they immediately get dived on by MoonLight. So moving into tower control ship shape, a significantly larger map, but a tower map. I'm kind of wondering whether we're going to be seeing some, say, like bubbles on the tower as they begin to move it forward, not just to guard the checkpoints, but to kind of win fights earlier. A lot of players, including juniors, set a bubble on the tower right at the start just so they can start moving into enemy territory with some protection. And that kind of thing could be very useful when you've got a junior with 2 bombs or a blaster. Let's see how Pollo is going to adjust going into game 3 now. Going down 3 games can certainly turn a bad situation into a worse one. They're actually going to be rotating over to the Stamper for some extra range from Celtic instead of a blaster this time, but no other... Actually, yes, one more other change. Tripling strikes coming out from MoonLight.
Yeah, Shadow now onto that Neo Splash will provide those GG strikes if you so say. And now, seeing that pick over to the Stamper, I do like that. Will provide that extra range like you mentioned there. Shadow already has their trip strikes available. Bubbles also popped as well, but Shadow elects to use it on that left side just to thwart the Pollo push on that other side. And actually, Celtic will go down as well as Tacos, and already off rip here. MoonLight are continuing their just dominating presence so far, but you see Your Love with that crack and slowing down that push a little bit.
Yeah, that is going to slow it down. It is going to force MoonLight to pop that bubble. That is still not that big of a commitment for MoonLight. They have still 2 members up with specials. They have the tripling strikes. They have a Kraken on the line, and already Nolan and Shadow swarming that left side, moving in with their specials. That Kraken's going to go up into the high ground. This is going to dislodge Pollo from their safe position here. Now Nolan's just going to sit up here and try and rain down bullets onto Pollo from their own high ground. The tower is going to be stopped by the halfway between these 2 checkpoints here. Basil just gearing back into mid to give their team some jumps, and MoonLight being very aware that they don't want to overcommit here. And just in time, that bubble comes out for this last checkpoint.
Yeah, that distance that MoonLight was able to cover is so huge, because that distance is so hard to do without coordinated pushes. Now being able to get past all their checkpoints here, they can really keep this ball rolling, as we're only 2 minutes in and MoonLight are now threatening a knockout situation. The trip strikes coming in from Shadow as well could move them forward here, as all the members of Pollo try to jump desperately onto the tower, finally being able to halt that push at the 3 mark, saving themselves from that knockout. But I mean, what an initial push from MoonLight from start to finish there. Now yet again in a deep hole for Pollo. They have a lot to come back from.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting all the way down to that 3 mark is difficult, but this can be a map you knock out on tower. I think if they're able to get that last checkpoint, that's the biggest hurdle in their way. Basil just spacing out Pollo over on this right side. But that's a nice pick coming out from Tacos. Your Love trying to move up in mid, did the same thing that MoonLight just did to them a moment ago. They need to catch MoonLight at awkward positions. That Kraken comes from behind, is not going to catch that trip strikes, but that is going to force MoonLight to drop onto that low ground. And miraculously, MoonLight's going to be able to dodge the entirety of Pollo, getting into their base and actually fight their way back to the tower. And now the sides are kind of reversed here, and Pollo's getting a little bit pinched, but they're actually managing to win that fight despite it. 3 members down onto MoonLight, as Tacos is going to have a safe attempt at that first checkpoint.
Yeah, but you have to worry about Nolan here. The Kraken be Kraken is had. Nolan now looking for Pollo members to take out here. That Kraken will run out quickly, though, and they are taken down themselves here. First checkpoint will be had by Pollo, yes, but you need to move this second to the second checkpoint, as this distance is so difficult to maneuver. It's, I believe, the longest distance between 2 checkpoints in the game here, so you really have to get a continuous push going. But it looks like MoonLight are able to recreate, or at least reclaim, some of their ground there, as Omega does find one onto Celtic, and Nolan just threatening these other members of Pollo, just making life difficult for them.
Yes, here they go. Your Love moving in on that right side with the Kraken. We've kind of been seeing Pollo just engage or initialize fights with that Kraken. Oh my god, Shadow on the left side moving in with the splash is going to help MoonLight win that fight in mid. And man, Pollo has been taking a lot of swings, but they have not managed to land too many hits so far. MoonLight back on the tower. Basil's been nigh unkillable. MoonLight just dominating this game so far. Pollo all up on that high ground. The bubble comes out. The Kraken comes out to answer it. Just rinse and repeat. That Kraken finds a pick. The tower is going to move in. Nolan manages to survive after the Kraken. Your Love does manage to survive, though. Get 2 huge picks. Pollo has another chance, but there's only 45 seconds left. If there is a lead, it's going to have to happen in overtime, likely. Pollo has their work cut out for them for sure.
Cut out indeed, but Pollo have found themselves in this situation several times in the past. They could recreate some magic here, but that difficult part is going to be that second checkpoint. That second checkpoint is going to be so difficult to deal with here, especially since you have Shadow just keeping these strikes in their pocket here, that win condition. Tacos does have Bubble here to maybe move in for Celtic, just hunting for a pick here, just trying to find anything. Unfortunately, does go down there. 15 seconds left. The tower is just being bombarded by all MoonLight members here. Cooler was had, yes, by Pollo, but desperately now Omega slicing and dicing their way through here. 5 seconds left. Tacos on the zone here. Both bubbles being made here. And now is this overtime. A very dangerous situation if you are Pollo here. You see Your Love just trying to go in, trying to hunt down Omega in the background. Finally takes them out, but 3 members of Pollo fall there just to the overwhelming might of MoonLight. And with that, now a 3-0 lead. Not what I expected to start off here, Fusion.
Yeah, not what I was expecting either. I think MoonLight has done an excellent job just being aware of, well, in the past games, I'd say they've done a good job of being aware of, like, Luna Blaster. They know exactly what Pollo is trying to do in order to win. I feel like they've really used the space against, their space advantage against Pollo, and the Stamper coming out certainly helped them deal with some of that range, but it felt like MoonLight has just been pushing very well together as a team. They've been playing at all the same pace. Pollo has not quite been able to keep up. I think something that we're seeing is, I think Pollo is initiating a lot with their Kraken, but they don't have kind of the follow-up in order to deal with it. They have like a Splash-O-Matic, and I saw at some point in that game, there was like a Kraken that went in and a Zipcaster that went in at the same time. People just were not quite targeting the same people at the same time. A little bit of a disconnect. Whereas MoonLight has just been playing as a singular unit. It's felt so far. But we're moving over to our final mode, Rainmaker, and on Museum.
Yeah, and something to just... I'm like now realizing more and more, and that's become more and more evident to me, is Omega on that decap. They have been a major problem for Pollo that Pollo hasn't really found too much of an answer for, really just trying to keep the value at the minimum for Omega, but still managing to get in the backline, finding 1, finding 2 in certain situations that is super rough for Pollo to really try to answer to, because really in that situation, in terms of the comps they were running, they did not run Luna on that one, just trying to change some things up. There's not a lot of things that really many of those players can do if the decav is near you. I mean, you still have the range that decav can provide, as well as that obviously insta-kill factor. It is just really difficult to deal with if you do not keep a track of them, especially being able to combine Omega's decav and I believe Nolan's Kraken, just being able to just simultaneously dive Pollo is just not leaving them any room to really run away or really work with.
Yeah, I definitely can see how Pollo's certainly felt like they've been locked down. We're actually going to see an adjustment here from MoonLight. I'm not surprised to see a crab coming out. This is kind of the crab map coming out from MoonLight, but no crab on the side of Pollo. Actually, Strike Splash coming out, but both teams do have that Wiper with that newly buffed hammer. We'll see if that's going to kind of provide the aggression that Pollo needs to get back into this. Here we go. Members moving into mid. There's Pollo still in control of that right side. They have a lot of paint, but they haven't quite gotten the picks they need. Basil actually finding themselves in an awkward spot. The Wiper is going to get behind her, and that is going to be an early advantage for Pollo. 2 members in mid. Shadow kind of finding themselves in an awkward position. Celtic helped finish off that member. Pollo now looking for a way in, but Basil just shutting that down immediately.
Yeah, looking very promising. MoonLight did falter, but they did not break. You're now, again, in control of mid. A great opportunity for them to get a push going. You have Omega's Stamp going in, trying to find a pick there. You also have the Kraken available. Pollo does lose their main Slayer in that Wiper. A great pick onto Omega will be had on the other side by Your Love, though. So, again, slowing down the push here. Rainmaker is in no man's land. The Shadow, a crab will be popped by Shadow there just to try to maintain presence of this spinner here, but still all the pressure on Pollo. So much space being created by MoonLight, and that's just what they do best.
Absolutely. I mean, Basil's definitely been kind of a rock for the team. There we go, that checkpoint. We can see just how well coordinated that is. That Kraken moving in, just blocking all the bullets, allowing Basil to move in and grab that checkpoint. The cooler coming out, everyone is on top of it. MoonLight playing just absolutely synchronized here. Pollo now waiting up on that high ground for an opportunity. Omega gets into a great position. They're not aware. Omega's managing to get into an awesome spot here. They have a hammer online that's going to be thrown. It is going to get chipped, but the Rainmaker actually manages to get caught out, chased down by members of Pollo. That was a nice work, not focusing on the member flanking the backlines, but focusing objective there. But nonetheless, Shadow's going to get into a nice spot here with that crab. Rainmaker's going to sneak by, but nonetheless, MoonLight kind of slowing down this push from Pollo. Actually, Pollo managing to slow down this push from MoonLight. I got all turned around there.
Yeah, now you see the trip trade coming out from Tacos now, just trying to maintain this space, but MoonLight are not giving up here. They are still going in with the Rainmaker. Shadow finds themselves a great opportunity here. Could go straight for the knockout, and that, oh my god, a voice crack from me, but I am just in so much shock by that quick turnaround. I just screeched so loud, you have no idea, but stealing that game out of nowhere, that surprised the hell out of me, Fusion. A great opportunity was found there. Just sneaking by all those members of Pollo, and just nothing they could have done with that, as MoonLight, quick 4-0 now.
Oh man, now Pollo on their last legs going to have to win 5 straight. I don't know if they've got the reverse sweep in them, but I'm hoping. I think they have the potential, but MoonLight has been absolutely lights out this set so far. I feel like, you know, weapons and whatnot are not kind of going to make the difference from Pollo. We've seen them adjust in almost every game, but MoonLight has consistently come out on top. We are back to splat zones. I think that was the game they showed the most life in, for sure. Which was game 1 on Mako Mart, but a significantly larger, more open map. I think that Pollo is going to have to prioritize dealing with the pencil on the other side that's constantly providing those coolers. MoonLight is just omnipresent, and I feel like Basil is not dying at all on that backline.
I mean, yeah, I'm just thinking of MoonLight's comp here. It complements themselves so well. I mean, I'd imagine Omega goes back to the decap. I wouldn't be surprised with a Wiper either, because with that so much flat land, you have a lot of space to really work with. I mean, all of these weapons work so well with each other. You have the 96 with the Kraken, providing so much range pressure, like you mentioned, Basil, on that pencil. Again, same story, and I would also imagine we would see the return of that crab. Though has remained firmed in that instance, but with Pollo changing things up, this is your last time to really do that now. You need to get something going. You got to take it one game at a time. A reverse sweep is really difficult to do, but it's not the most impossible thing. It's just very unlikely if you just keep running what you've been going. I have liked the choice for Tacos to go off of that junior here. Will we be seeing a crab splash, or will we be seeing a Neo splash? That is my main question here as we move into game 5. A potential sweep for MoonLight. Pollo here just trying to mount any form of comeback.
Yeah, we do see that crab coming out from MoonLight, the custom blaster. Pollo kind of pulling out every trick in the book here, trying to find ways to just break past MoonLight's defenses here. We'll see if they're going to be able to do it here. Oh my goodness, already the 96, Nolan nailing a member of Pollo, and that's going to be an early advantage from MoonLight, taking 2 members out. The last few members of Pollo stuck on the low ground at their snipe. This is going to be that first cap and quite a few points on the board for MoonLight.
I mean, indeed, there you see now Pollo have an opportunity here to try to recollect this a little bit. Maybe the Sea Blast can provide some kind of presence that they haven't had already, but they do lose 2 members there. You see Tacos did fall. Basil already in control of the zone, as well as the rest of MoonLight here has Cooler now fighting with Cooler here. A great advantage for them now. They don't have any penalty to worry about here soon, as although you do have 2 specials, now 3 specials online for Pollo, you can really hold this, but as soon as I say that, there come the entirety of the vault of specials on the side of Pollo, and within a blink of an eye, they are back in business. They're back in zone here. And after a great start, this is finally the life and the identity of Pollo that we're used to.
Yeah, here we go. That sword on the left side gets a pick with that Zipcaster, absolutely huge. That's going to be no Cooler for a while for MoonLight. The Kraken's going to come in, but there isn't too much follow-up. Caltech moves in, but oh no, everyone drops onto that Kraken coming out from MoonLight, and now Pollo still in control of the zone, still with a player advantage, but this is a fight that MoonLight is now able to take outside of their base. Nolan able to hold his ground in mid. That crab is going to come out, and its zone is going to get neutralized as a result. There's a flank over that left side, but MoonLight still able to maintain a lot of pressure on the zone. Pollo holding that zone, looking to continue just pounding it down. Here's that pencil on the snipe. They're able to kind of dodge that Kraken for just a bit, but MoonLight does flip the zone back. Pollo has a very nice hold, but now going 2 members down, 3 members down, and a full wipeout. They're going to have to do the same thing MoonLight just did and battle out of their base.
And here's a key factor. They do not have the strip strikes. You saw Tacos pop it earlier, so you will have to retake this with maybe that splashdown. It did get an inking buff, but that goes quickly down. Now 2 specials online for Pollo, only 2 people online for Pollo, as now it is a 3 players down situation. Tacos getting sliced and diced by Omega, as now that is great for MoonLight. Now a lot of space had a lot of time wasted, and that is lead now in MoonLight's favor. You saw that blast being taken down as well. 15 ticks left for MoonLight to really hold on to this, to shut it down. 10 seconds left. The members are falling everywhere for Pollo here. Omega is in the spawn of MoonLight and inside of Pollo, and that will do it right there. A little bit of a surprise, at least to me, as MoonLight take this entire set super cleanly. 5-0 is your final score.
Yeah, great stuff from MoonLight. They're kind of just asserting their position here. Like, Black Lotus went down, but MoonLight says they're not getting caught out, and they're going to guard their spot in Division X as a top team to say, you're not quite ready yet. Or maybe, no, I think they're ready. Pollo's still ready, but, you know, you're not the best of the best yet. There's levels to this.
Yeah, you have in the NBA for rookies, welcome to the NBA moments. This is welcome to Div X. They're punching Pollo in the mouth a little bit, humbling themselves a little bit, saying, hey, you might have been the number 1 seed, but we're still here. We're MoonLight. We have been here, done that, and we are a team to be feared. And I mean, showing it right there. They're the first team in Group A to complete a 5-0 sweep there, so really nicely done from them. And definitely sending a message to the other teams in Group A to keep your eye out for MoonLight, as well as now they tie Floaters to grab a life vest for being in the playoffs. Both teams now up 2-0 there, so really nicely done there as they continue their playoff push.
Yeah, great stuff from MoonLight there. As well, that's going to move them to 2-0. So huge stuff. Now MoonLight definitely in the playoff picture. They're looking great so far, and I have my eyes on which week is this at? It is week 4, the MoonLight versus Black Lotus set. Now that we've kind of seen that Black Lotus can bleed, I'm kind of wondering, is MoonLight going to command Division X Group A? They certainly looked absolutely lights out in this game so far, and honestly, just great stuff all around. Playing as you'd expect a long-established team to play, just so well coordinated, not being caught out by different strategies, different team compositions. Just maintaining their position as a top team.
I mean, yeah, and definitely something to keep your eyes out for. Pollo trying to get back on track there now, being tied with the team they just upset earlier in last week in Black Lotus. Now both those teams are now tied 1-1 as just taking a look at how week 2 has turned out for this group A, you have pretty even like split. You have 2 teams 2-0, you have 2 teams 1-1, and you have 2 teams 0-2 there. So very cleanly done there. So for Pollo to maintain their playoff berth, the attempts to keep that, they need to just stay on track, as their next game will be against Facade, who Black Lotus did beat. So technically, if you would think that if you did beat the team that you're going up against next, you would technically be better than this team, but who knows, as Pollo are our 12th seed in this entire Div X entirely, but I wouldn't put it past them to maybe pull off some more upsets there. Obviously, a little bit of a stumble here, but definitely a team to keep your eye out.
Yeah, next week, Pollo goes head-to-head with Facade. That's something we do want to keep an eye on. Pollo has looked incredible so far. Saying that they really do deserve that spot in Division X. They've been such a strong team, winning weekly after weekly. They just came off of, I believe, winning SOS this week, and they've shown that they can do things if we give them time. I believe that they will continue to establish themselves, and even at a 1-1 record, they are not out of things at all, especially considering they've kind of faced 2 of their hardest matches. I think these are the 2 hardest matches that they are to expect in Division X so far, so keep an eye out for Pollo. We'll see if they're going to be able to try and make a playoff push.
I mean, yeah, being the new kids in town isn't easy. I mean, you have something to prove here, and they're just going to have to keep doing that. I mean, you mentioned at the beginning, yes, they did prove themselves by being able to upset the 1 seed, but a little bit of a stumble here and there won't divert them nonetheless. I mean, I do love their weapon choices. That Luna is something that is different that we haven't seen from top teams, so we'll just have to wait and see. But at least for now, that will be it for us here. But there will be more games to be had for the rest of today, so do not go anywhere too far, because in a couple of hours, we'll be having on your screen right there, Kittens versus Wavelength for Div 5, and then later on at 9 Eastern, you have Moonshine versus I Told My Girlfriend I'm in +2. And then finally, at the end of today, Star Guardians of Chaos versus Killer Blues. But at least for now, that'll be it for me in Fusion. Fusion, where can the people find you?
You can find me at 8-Bit Fusion on Blue Sky or at Sea Battle. Where can they find you, Rocket?
You can find me at Rocket1 on Blue Sky. You can find me at Rocket_Splat on Twitter. Don't use Twitter that much more often, but so Blue Sky will definitely be the place to find me. But yeah, that'll do it for us here. Thank you for joining, for being our wonderful streamer in the background. I know double streaming there. He is the GOAT. Love to see it. But anyways, that'll do it for us here, at least for now, on LUTI tonight. But be sure to check out the other games. But yeah, that'll be it for us. So take care.
Good night, everyone.